That's good. Good time on the streets, man.
I did not hear any of that.
Hold on. Oh shoot, where'd it go? Where'd you guys go? Oh no.
I like this. It's very gonzo filming.
Proper Ebonics.
Oh man, welcome to Proper Ebonics. Kirk and Alan, episode, I don't know, like 115 probably. Someone actually asked me that last night at the show. They're like, oh man, how long, like how many episodes are you guys in? I couldn't give them a number. I was like, maybe 120. I don't know. And producer Pat coming in with breaking news. 106. Proper Ebonics, episode 106 in Park. Kirk and Alan.
Yo, my high school, was it middle school? Well, either middle school or my high school, they would go to 106 in Park every year. That was like a field trip.
That would have been a fun one. I could see you being a crowd, like getting happy when Bow Wow comes out.
No, look, they pick like 40 kids each year to go. And I remember the year it was time for like my grade to go, they stopped going.
Oh,
I know. I didn't get to see Bow Wow, man. I would have loved it. You know, I was a Bow Wow fan.
That would have been a fun field trip. It's like, because they would get mainly like kids in the audience. You would never see like adults in the audience for 106 in Park.
No, yeah, it was just like teenagers. Like if you were like 35 in the audience at 106 in Park, it means you probably have a problem.
You have a problem, or you're related to AJ. You're just there with a guest pass.
Or you're like recruiting for like R. Kelly or something. But like
that's a BET affiliation. Who knows? I wonder what's happening with the host of those. So like AJ, I believe he went on to host Extra, that like celebrity news show.
Yeah.
Free. I don't know what I know she's doing something, but I don't know what.
I feel like Free is the only one that I don't know about. I feel like everyone, remember like Terrence?
Yeah.
He's like a big deal in Hollywood now. He's like chucking and jiving all over the place. I know
the Roscoe,
Lisa, Roxy
was it? Okay.
Roscoe Pete Jenkins.
I guess it does make more sense that it would be Roxy. Terrence and Roscoe.
Yeah, Terrence and Roxy. So yeah, I think Free is like the only one that's not actually doing something that I'm aware of. Like I don't know, she's not in the spotlight or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel like she's probably in a position where not in the spotlight but still around, sort of thing. Like whether it's like probably not hosting something, but like I know she's sang. Maybe she's doing like ghostwriting or something. Either way, she was pleasant, so I hope she's doing well.
Free, I don't know about you, but like every dude in my school had a crush on Free. She was like the baddest thing smoking, yo.
She was cool, man. She had the afro going too. They were a good combo.
Yeah, they were.
There were some people that were into Free. There were some people into Sita from Sita's World. I won't reveal which one I was, but use contextual clues to make a guess. Some people may be listening to this and have no idea what we're talking about right now. So if you didn't grow up watching 106 in Park, sorry.
You just learned some culture right there. So check it out. Google it, YouTube it. It was an experience for like the Black community on BET where they counted down the top 10 songs of the week or day or whatever. It was like an event. It was like a moment. Like
yeah,
30. It was like an hour and a half long.
Yeah,
I don't know how long it was.
An hour and a half seems lengthy. I feel it could have been. I thought it was like an hour, probably, but it was like the hip hop R&B equivalent of TRL, where again it was all kids in the audience. And I think it was in a way kind of a response to TRL because they had a lot of pop artists on there, and maybe not as many Black artists were being represented. And BET, that just happened to be one of their staples as they were growing as a company. And yeah, it was a good show. It reminded me of childhood, man. It was nice.
You remember Freestyle Friday?
Oh yeah, I remember Freestyle Friday, man.
That's the best part. That was the best part where they would have battles of like unknown people, and the battles were like super dope. Like
yeah,
it was. I remember. You remember Jen? He was like the
yes.
Asian.
Yeah. He got signed by Wyclef. He was one of the first like battle rappers, not just off that show or segment of the show, but like became like a known artist.
Yeah.
He had that single, "Y'all Gonna Learn Chinese," and Wyclef like was the cosign. A lot of rappers came out of that. Hollow the Don was on that. Loaded Lux was on that. Blind Fury. Do you remember Blind Fury?
I do. I
Yeah,
do. He was really good.
Blind Fury was nice. And it
Yeah.
was judge battles too. So like they would have like freeway judging a battle,
Yeah.
like Cypher Sounds, and then the person would then go on to go to the next week. It was cool. That was I miss segments like that. That's the one thing about not having as much television present, or the anticipation for events like that on a weekly basis, and you're not just binging it all at once.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like a lot of these streaming services. They'll be doing this stuff like where they'll just release an episode like once a week. They won't just like drop it all on you. They'd be like, okay, you got to come back next week for the next episode. It's like, no, I want to binge. You can't make me binge and then take my binge away.
I'm glad that they're doing that, although it would infuriate me a little bit. I'm conditioned now to do all in one, or at least like at my convenience. So if they're saying that's a wait a full week, I may be ticked.
You said people at the show last night were asking you about proper Ebonics. What show are you referring to, Kirk?
I'm sure referring to the White Swan show in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. It was a show out there. Shout out to Joey Tepnino and company. And yeah, man, it was cool. I was telling Pat before this, it was very much like a RCO reunion in some ways.
Yeah,
because it was like for those listening, RCO was the open mic where a lot of us started doing things, where you and I met, and you'd have a lot of people come by. You had Greg Karkapuke, CJ, Joey being one of them. Powder wasn't there tonight or last night, but he was there the last time that I did it, so it was nice.
Really?
Yeah, and him and his wife. Yeah, shout out to Powder. Yeah, it was nice that way. And CJ, he had asked about the show, and yeah, I let him know. So CJ, if you're listening, it was nice seeing you.
Yeah, nice. No, it was a fun night, man. It was good. Like I said, I didn't see a lot of those people in a long time. You know what I mean? So it was cool to see those people and see the people like, one of my favorite things to do at comedy shows is like, especially people that I guess only with people that I know, it's like see the evolution of the like joke writing and to see them new ideas. Cause like back in the day, everybody's like all their jokes, you know what I mean? Like, right. So I like to see like the evolution. People are like, oh, okay, I see you out here expanding and growing. Yeah.
Charles evolved. Oh my goodness. Charles is doing stuff that I have not heard him do. And it was pleasant.
Yeah. It's good. What's his name? Brandon Dunbar. He killed it too.
Yeah.
Dunbar, he killed it. I don't know if you've seen his set, but he was fucking it up. I was like, check him out.
Dunbar's always pleasant. Every time I see him, I'll just randomly see him in different spots. I think Phoenixville was the last time, and I was like, oh yeah, nice, Dunbar, good for him.
Yeah, no, it was a fun show, man. It's funny. I was talking to I had my homie Max with me, right? And we were talking about like it was a all white room. I didn't know there was 2 black people in the room until I got to the stage. And he was talking. He was like, so you're gonna you're gonna switch up your stuff, or you're gonna like do like the black and white stuff? I'm like, yeah, I'm not switching my set for anybody. I don't change my set according to the room. Like, these jokes are well crafted for anyone. Like, I'm not breaking my back trying to. I couldn't imagine like having to do 30 minutes, having a separate 30 for black people and a separate 30 for white people. It's like, who the hell do you think I am? Like, I couldn't do that.
That may be the goal. Have a 30 minutes for black crowd, white crowd. Have that hour ready to go. Yeah, that was I remember that couple. It was a nice little it could have been a commentary on the tone of my set versus your set, or even just like just kind of like a social commentary, because I acknowledged them as well, because I didn't realize until I was on stage, because I thought it was like all white crowd. I saw they were there. I was like, oh, whoa. And then they looked at me very much like I was like, it was for me, I was like, oh wow, cool, nice, other black people are here. But maybe because racially ambiguous, just tone in my set, they just weren't as welcoming. Versus when you did it, I saw just like the husband, wife, they may have been married, they looked at each other, acknowledged each other, and looked back smiling. I was like, all right, guys, I'm glad you had that moment just now, but you could have had it earlier as well. But that's okay.
I don't think it's because you're racially ambiguous, Kirk. You have to. No, I've been trying to tell you this. No one knows. Look, everyone thinks you're black. Okay, there's no one that looks at you and be like, I don't know what he is. Like,
bro, that's what, for most part, that's what I go off of. And in that moment, I was like, oh, cool. and they were very much like, I was like, oh, okay.
It could have just been, it's the tone of it. It's not like we don't like this half and half guy, because like even Charles said on stage, like, I'm half black and half white. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like that's way that's wider than what you are, because you're not like half white. You know what I mean? You're half
Right.
Indian, or right? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
so it's
no,
not like
yeah, it probably was more like the tone of it sort of thing. But either way, it was cool to see them in the crowd, sort of thing like that. And yeah, cool room.
It's a good time. We were talking when we first started this episode just now. We were talking about like streaming services not allowing. Well, not saying they don't allow, but like I've seen some of them only drop episodes once a week. And one thing that I've watched last week that I can't wait for it to drop again is, I don't know if you've seen this, but you see Kanye's documentary?
No, I keep hearing about it. I've yet to watch it. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's the Kanye that I like, the one before he became like a MAGA asshole. So
I thought you said MAGA at first, and then I realized, MAGA, and I was like, I kind of could be both.
I'll watch Kanye stuff that's before the MAGA stuff. I don't listen to his albums. I don't supporting that, but like I wanted to watch this documentary. He didn't make it either, so it's not like I'm whatever. So I watched it. And it drops. What was it? Every Tuesday, every Wednesday. It was like 3 parts, and it was really inspiring, like to watch someone who is chasing their dreams while you're trying to chase your dreams. Because this dude was just like, I don't care what anyone says, I'm the greatest right now, and no one knows who I am. Like he had that same like swagger, and he was nobody. You know
when
what I mean?
Was this like, was this College Dropout around that time? It must have been, if no one knew.
It was before. So the first episode was leading up to College Dropout. So they just like showed him like trying to sign a deal. They showed him like coming from Chicago to New York, and like meeting up with Most Def and Talib Kweli, and like so it was like the beginning of the College Dropout. It was like the making of the College Dropout, and like that was the first episode. It was cool to see that his mom was in it, like a lot. You know what I mean? So that was, I'm not saying it was a tearjerker, but it was kind of sad. Like,
sounds like it was a tearjerker. Even as you were saying, you're not going to say it's a tearjerker. I was like, I don't know. It sounds like you're kind of tearing up a little bit.
No, I didn't tear up at all. But there was people I seen posting saying like it was so sad, I almost shed a tear. I didn't feel that, but it was just like, it was dope to see. Like, his mom was definitely his ride or die. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was cool to see. And but when we said the Netflix streaming services dropping things once a week, I thought about that, because I was like, damn, I was gonna watch all 3 of these drawings like back to back.
I didn't realize it was a docu like series like that. I thought it was just like a random documentary. I've been hearing nothing but good things about it. I didn't realize it was like dated back to like pre-College Dropout, which is interesting, because I think that's a fascinating time and from what we know to be Kanye's life. So I gotta check it out. I know there was like a concert that he released on Amazon, but I think that was for like his new album, which I heard was also not the album itself, but the concert on Amazon was pretty good. And a docu-series now. Well, let's take a look out for that.
It's crazy because there's a dude, he's actually a documentarian now. His name's Cootie. He was like a stand-up comedian and from Chicago. He knew Kanye, whatever. And he literally dropped everything, quit his life, and just followed Kanye around with the camera before he was like Kanye. So it's kind of like, this nigga's, his foresight was crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not quitting staying up to follow up some up and coming producer that want to be a rapper. I ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
That's I wonder what promoted the release now.
I don't know. I think that, so this is, I don't think, so like I said, it's not produced by Kanye, but I'm pretty sure he gave his blessing on it. But I think the dude Cootie who made the documentary, I think he just was ready to drop it now. Like, I don't think that, so a lot of people were thinking that maybe because Kanye was wilding out online and all that Kim drama, like maybe that was a part of his rollout plan for the documentary. You know what I mean?
That is a meticulous plan right there. I doubt, because all the production that comes into it and like editing, that couldn't be, if it lined up perfectly like that or on purpose, that'd be kind of bananas. But you wonder like, oh, why wouldn't this come out during like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or during Yeezus? There's so many other moments where it could have came out, but I guess it could have just also been ready now.
Right. Or like I said, I haven't seen the end of it, so I don't know where it ends. Like, does it
Oh.
end? Does it end after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Does it end during the MAGA time? Does it end 2 months ago? Like, I don't know when it ends. You know what I
Yeah, you know,
mean?
it'd have been cool. So do you know like the name of it's slipping on me. They have a few of these like documentaries where they'll follow the subject throughout a course of like 20 to 30 years in different parts of their life. I feel like Kanye would be a fun one to do that with, of like pre-college dropout, and then you get him during graduation, and then you get him Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, then you wrap it up with everything going on now. That would truly be fascinating to watch.
That's kind of what this is a little bit. So you should watch it. It's cool. It's on. Check it out. It was cool.
Yeah, man. And I know in contrast, that is something that people have been mentioning more and more heavily, not just in relation to Kanye wilding out online, but they're saying his behavior towards Kim Kardashian, which I guess they're no longer together, is bordering or at least reminiscent of abusive partners when relationships are done. And a lot of people that have been in abusive relationships are saying that his behavior is very much like that, and that we shouldn't be seeing it as entertainment, but more so as a precautionary measure of what can and will happen. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's definitely harassment. It's easily harassment. It's abuse. Like, he is wilding, bro. Like, as someone that has a baby mom, as someone that's been through baby mama drama, I couldn't imagine, like, the one part that, so I'm kind of, it's just like a twofold thing for me, like a catch-22. Like, I wish he would stop posting about it and being so public about it. But if he didn't, we wouldn't know what Kim's going through. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So like, yeah, I kind of want, I'm like, yo, man, keep your private life private. But it's also like, I'm kind of glad we know what's going on so people can keep an eye on Kim, because this is not cool. It's dangerous, bro. You can't. Like, he moved next door to them. I think people forget that. Like,
Is that an actual thing?
He moved across the street.
Oh, wow. I'm a bit, I shouldn't say removed, but I actively just kind of stay on the peripheral of all of it. I heard that he bought a house next to theirs. I heard that he was making memes and posting it on his pages that were like anti Pete Davidson, like kind of like violent anti Pete Davidson. And I guess like giving out Kim Kardashian's number online. Those are things that I heard, which sounds pretty brutal.
Yeah, so I don't know if he did the last thing. I don't know if he gave Kim's number out, but all those other things he's done, like like, he's harassing them, dog. Like, it's one thing to want to be so this is the thing I don't understand, right? Like, and it's crazy that, like, I think I said this, I might say this to you last time. Like, I can't believe I'm a better co-parent than Kanye and a better comedian than T.I. Like, we're never seeing these things in the early 2000s. But
you watch a 106 in Park, looking up to him. Evolution.
Right.
Evolution.
Crazy. But what was I saying? Kanye,
in regards to his harassing behavior, you had not heard that he gave out the number. I saw like a little glimpse of like someone DM'd him.
Oh, that's what happened. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He was asking somebody that's close to Kim for her new phone number, because she got a new number and he didn't have it for a reason, right?
Ooh.
So somebody close to her gave Kanye the phone number. So he blurred the number out, but he screenshot it, like, see, I got the number. It's just like,
damn it, Courtney.
This is what I was going to say. Kanye talks to us about this situation online like he can't get a lawyer
or a therapist.
No, he need a lawyer. He got all these. He do need a therapist, yes. But in regards to the baby mama drama and the co-parenting stuff, go talk to a lawyer. Go get custody. What are we talking about? Why are you telling us? Go talk to a lawyer.
Because we know them from the context of being celebrities, not just celebrities, but celebrities that historically make their lives very public. Maybe not always in like in turmoil like it is right now, but we know them as these figures, these public figures. I wonder if that collectively kind of takes, for us, it's almost like we don't take it as seriously up front, at least at first, because of that, because we're primarily seeing them as these public figures versus humans. if we saw that just like a regular couple going through this, we may be more sympathetic or even empathetic towards it. But because they're these celebrities, it removes some of that.
I think
I don't know if that's a good
I
or
think
bad thing.
no, look, I think that can be true for some people, but I have seen a lot of people talking about how this is not cool, how it's harassment, how it's abusive, how it's negative, all these things. So it's not like people like I've seen more of that than I've seen jokes about it. You know what I
Really?
mean? Because like at first, maybe like the first week, we were like, "Oh, Kanye tripping," but like now you can clearly see he has a problem, bro. It's a problem. You should not. You're going to have situations with your kid's mom. They're not together for the rest of your life. That's what's going to happen. But to this magnitude, dog, is super weird. He's making memes and threats, and he's talking about her boyfriend, talking about Pete Davidson calling him Skeet instead of Pete, and it's just like,
Huh.
why, like, bro, why are you doing that? That's like if his name was Putt, now just calling him Nut. Like, yeah, get out of here, Nut, come. Like, why are you calling this man his names? It just doesn't make no sense.
I feel like that's a dude thing that I do notice of like if you don't like a particular dude, you'll mispronounce their name almost, or like you'll come up with a nickname for it that can maybe be derogatory. I feel like that is a thing. Skeet instead of Pete. All right, that's Kanye. I think he could do better.
Yeah, you're too creative to come up to say Skeet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oops. I think I shouldn't say I need to look further into this. I don't think I need to look further into it. However, for like context wise, and just to get a better grounding of like how I actually feel about it, because I think I have kind of like what I mentioned, that celebrity kind of like shine around it, where if it feels so removed, and it feels very much manipulating in a sense of with celebrities and how they portray themselves, it feels hard for me to be like, this is actually happening like that.
yeah.
And I feel like in this case, it could be very well how that is happening. And it could be an abusive case, which wouldn't be a great thing. So I got to get a better grounding of actually how I'm feeling about it. In regards to just Kanye releasing memes, that in itself is humorous. If it's a matter of like it's actually causing this distress and turmoil and is bordering on abusive, then that's something that it's not as funny.
So he was dating this one chick, and
Julia Fox.
Yeah, he was there. I think they broke up. I'm not, but he was on Valentine's Day. He sent Kim Kardashian a pickup truck full of roses.
Oh.
Why, bro? Like you were dealing with somebody else. Kim has a whole boyfriend. What are you doing?
Are they still dating, Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian?
Yeah. Kim has a whole boyfriend.
Mm.
She in a whole other relationship. She don't really rock with you like that right now. What are you doing? You're not getting your family back, bro. It's not happening. You ruined that already. Too many guys, yo. They realize, you know what I'm saying? You don't realize what you got until it's gone. You know what I mean? Like, what? I don't know their relationship because it was kind of private, you know. But like, how often was he sending her a truck full of roses? Like, how often was it? Was that just, is he doing that now just because he's trying to get it back, or like, how was the energy? Like, were you loving on her how you should have been? You know what I mean? Like, it's too late now.
I wonder, and I'm saying this mainly because I grew up with Kanye and all that. I think I'm a little biased in terms I'm a fan of Kanye. Part of me is like, oh, well, what if he actually was mentally ill, sort of thing. But then I'm like, oh, am I like being an abusive apologist sorts? I don't know these people's lives like that. I know that he hopped on the show for them a few different times. I've heard a bunch of different lyrics about her. They've been together for like a decade now that I realize it, since like Jesus. So hopefully it doesn't border on anything too crazy like that, because that genuinely would be a sad thing. It is interesting of so we have the Kardashians who've kind of been, I won't say villainized, of like, oh, they get all these dudes and then they end up ruining them in terms of like have them go down these mental spirals of all like their exes and such. And then Kanye dropped the reverse card. Kanye is very much like, hold on, let me give you a bed full of roses while also moving into the house next to you while blasting my music. If I hate to joke about a matter if it actually is a serious case, but from coming from a celebrity standpoint, it's hard for me to take it too seriously. I admit that.
No, yeah, but I think I hear you. I hear you. I think he needs to get some kind of help. I think he's a therapist of some kind, and definitely a lawyer. Like, I think those would be the two things, because he'd be talking to us like we about to give him advice on divorce court. Like, bro, I have no idea. Just go talk to a lawyer.
Kind of, this is our advice to you. This commentary is the advice. So this is what you were seeking. Something that other people were seeking or sought out, at least last week in hip hop news. We saw a Super Bowl halftime show, and what I believe is the first full-blown hip hop performance for a halftime show in Super Bowl. I can't recall. I think like there's been like Black Eyed Peas would jump up there, or like maybe a rapper like Nicki Minaj would jump up during like Madonna performance. But this was pure West Coast hip hop. Did you watch it?
Of course I watched it, man. Not only did I watch it, I sang every single lyric to every single song. Yeah. I was singing Blige song. Eminem was up there. I was rapping like him. Listen, man, that was my era. Like,
yeah,
that's my era. You know what I'm talking about? You're talking about from Snoop Dogg, the beginning of his career, all the way to 50 Cent.
I know that was so. I did not expect 50 Cent, which, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense looking back. Like, why wouldn't 50 Cent be there? That's such a nice surprise to have. So we have Dr. Dre, we have Snoop, we have Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick, and then we see 50 Cent coming in from upside down, doing the pretty much replicating in the club video, which has caused a lot of memes and such. But it was a pleasant surprise seeing 50 Cent up there. Like, oh man, this really brings me back.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first seen the guy hanging upside down, I didn't even recognize that it was 50. I was like, look at that, they got a 50 impersonator. That's cool.
How wild would that be? Like, well, 50 Cent can make it, so we hired Bob. Yeah, when he started going with the Ghost Shorty, I was like, oh, that's in the club. I felt a little concerned because it was like he had the chain hanging, like dripping down to his face. I was like, this is clearly like a stunt, and I respect it because it's very high stake. But 50, I don't want you to fall down. I don't want that. I know Ja Rule wants it, but I don't want that. But
Ja Rule was the only person upset at the Super Bowl performance. He's the only one.
You know, Ja Rule and maybe Exhibit. That's the one thing I realized afterwards. Like, oh, Exhibit. I would have been happy with Exhibit being there.
They couldn't put everybody in it.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Exhibit was cool, but he not halftime performance cool. Like he doesn't have that kind of musical like notoriety.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think it's definitely a more it was a better call having 50 Cent up there, but just in terms of the affiliation with that like aftermath, him or Busta Rhymes, I thought afterwards like, oh, they would have fit in perfectly with those. But I'm happy with what we got. 50 Cent, he did make his way back up. Each person did at least a verse. So Snoop started off, did a verse. Mary J. Blige, she did like 2 verses, I think. Eminem did a verse. Kendrick, I loved Kendrick's part. Kendrick's part was like, in terms of the visual performance element, I thought his was the most compelling.
Yeah, Kendrick is a leader of the new school, man. He's very creative. Like, he doesn't do any performances that are like lackluster. You don't just see Kendrick doing a performance, right, where it's just him and his homies on stage and he just rapping. Like, no, he always puts detail into his performances, and he's great, man. Like, he killed it. Like, he definitely killed it, man.
Do you think we'll see more hip hop at the Super Bowl?
As long as Jay-Z is still in charge of that that NFL thing. You know, remember Jay-Z signed that contract with the NFL to be like the musical Super Bowl coordinator or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that was the part of it.
It was cool. Part of it was like something to do with the music of the Super Bowl. Like, that's definitely was part of it. So that's why it was so hip-hop-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think for sure you're going to continue to see it. Don't be surprised. You heard it here first. Proper Ebonics. Next year you will have Kanye West on the Super Bowl. Like, that's what we're.
Wow.
That's probably what's going to happen next year. Like,
man, I would like to see Jay-Z at a Super Bowl performance, just because, not even necessarily because it's like a lot of people deem Super Bowl like music's biggest stage. I don't think that's the case, but I think the way that the production that they put into it and the magnitude that comes with that, it's cool to see an artist perform at that level of, like, if you're doing a Super Bowl performance, you're gonna go all out for it. So something like a Jay-Z would be cool. Who knows if they do an East Coast version, we may get Fat Joe next year. Fat Joe may be at the Super Bowl.
They'll lean back. I would probably, like you said the first time, probably Buster, like LL Cool J or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, If they did, I'm trying to think of like an East Coast equivalent though. I imagine it would have to be headed by Jay.
Yeah,
Surprise Appearance by Nas. That'd be kind of cool. And then from there, at that point, I'd be like, I'd be happy with anyone showing up, sort of
trying
thing.
trying to think like what for R&B singer could we have? We already had Mary, so like who else on Mary's level? We
Oh, she
Beyonce
is
already,
East Coast too. Yeah.
Beyonce already did.
Maybe we do a little reverse, so it doesn't necessarily have to be like full blown East Coast. We get Missy Elliott.
Oh, Missy Elliott. Didn't Missy Elliott do it recently? Did she come out to somebody's performance recently?
She could have. She could have. That wouldn't be surprising. She may have actually done. Bruce Bad. You could look that up. Last time Missy Elliott was at Super Bowl, if any.
It was probably like 3 years ago. I'm guessing. I feel like I've seen her. I don't know why.
She was probably like a surprise. You know, I think she was a surprise appearance at someone's. I don't recall whose.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm gonna have to check that out later.
But yeah, is this the thing though? Even with the Dr. Dre, it wasn't really a West Coast Super Bowl. It was just Dr. Dre and Snoop. Oh, Kendrick. Because 50 from New York, Mary from New York, M from Detroit.
Right.
So it's like
they anchored it though. I saw it as like very much like because it was aftermath essentially. And it was like start off with Snoop from like a West Coast classic from early 90s, and then you end it with Dre. And let's see, Super Bowl halftime. It was in Arizona, and Lenny. Oh, okay, for Katy Perry. Oh, I see. So Katy Perry, she had Lenny Kravitz out, and Missy Elliott was one of them. I see. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, it felt very West Coast, and they were on the West Coast, so I believe it was like a relatively new stadium as well. Yeah, so I felt very West Coast, but that's true. Like at least 3 of them were East Coast, or at least mid East, if that's a thing.
Midwest.
If there's Midwest, why isn't there Mid East?
Because that's the way we go. We went to the West. So it was like, you know how Lewis and Clark traveled from the East to the West. So that's the midway point to the West. It's not like they traveled from the West to the East, because that'd be the midway point going to the East.
So it was a marker of like, oh yeah, we're midway there. We're Midwest right now, versus there was no reason to be like, we're going Mid East. It's like, no, we're here.
I've never read that anywhere, but that's what makes sense to me.
You know what? As you were saying it, I was like, that does make sense, and I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna make the choice to go with that because I like that explanation. Spot on. If that actually is the case,
it makes sense. Like it's midway to the West. But you know what I think they could do? They could do a Diddy Bad Boy type joint.
Oh,
like that'd be lit. Just have Mary back again on it.
I'm back, y'all. So I'd like to see we have Puff out there. J-Lo comes out.
Oh,
I'd like that. I would like that. She killed her. Like she did a Super Bowl and she did very well.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. We'll see. We'll see what next year has to come for the Super Bowl. We may get Hoobastank. Who knows? They may Jay-Z may just put Fall Out Boy up there. So we who knows what Jigga Man's gonna do? But
he likes Linkin Park, so he might put them up.
Oh man, that would be nuts. You know the lead singer died, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
did I know
suicide like 2 years ago. Chester.
You know oh, I do remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember that. Yeah.
A somber note on Linkin Park.
Did you see that? The game had like a Super Bowl party, right? And they were like watching halftime performance, and he like stood up in the middle of it, like they should have had me up there. They forgot the most integral part of the group. You know what I mean?
That's funny. I not that forgot about the game. But yeah, that I guess I would have made a little sense. But in terms of, I still would have been happier with Exhibit. But I could see why, if you're like trying to cut it down, why like the game wouldn't make it up there. Was he like serious about it? Or was it like kind of like a joke?
Yes, I think he was serious.
Oh,
they're in LA, his hometown. Like you said, the West Coast vibes. Aftermath was his squad. But I mean, I think they picked the right people. No, in order to have a game, I think you couldn't have 50 because they don't get along. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Who knows if they're still squabbling and such.
I don't think they get along. I haven't heard of anything of them like resolving the beef ever.
Damn, I wonder what Game's up to in that. Is he still doing music?
It's funny you say that because he is still doing music. I don't know. I don't follow him because he blocked me on Instagram. But I know he's still making music and things like that. But he was in the studio with Kanye when Kanye released like that one diss track towards Pete Davidson. It was like
he has a diss track towards Pete Davidson too.
It wasn't like a whole track, but he had like a couple lines in the song where he was just like, "I'm gonna pull up the SNL with 100 goons."
See, it is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. That is a funny thing. You made a diss record towards the comedian Pete Davidson. That is humorous. Again, we hope it's not anything too serious. That's well. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. So Game, he ghost wrote it for Kanye.
So there was a video of like Kanye in the studio with Game and his whole crew, and they were like having like a listening party for this song. They were like jamming out. So I don't know. Game probably had something to. He probably co-wrote it or something, but he had something to do with this track, and it's about Pete Davidson. And I don't even know the name of it. If I could remember the name of it, I would tell you so you can listen to it.
I'm just gonna look up Pete Davidson diss record. There's only one. There can't be more than a handful of Pete Davidson diss records. So I think I should be able to find it that way.
You know, Chris Red from SNL.
Yeah.
He tweeted, "Do you know how hard it would be to logistically get 100 people into SNL?"
Let alone your goons. That would be difficult, man. Before we get into some of the next topics, let's break them off some prop suggestions. A lot of times people they have difficulties committing to reading. They whether it be too lengthy and time consuming. Our co-host may be one of them. You feel free to take up this prop suggestion. My prop suggestion is if you're reading something or you're interested in reading something, commit to reading literally 2 pages of it per day for a month. It's part of my monthly challenge right now, but like 2 pages per day. You don't have to go beyond that. Typically, if you're in the groove of the book, you'll end up going more pages if you end up liking it like that, or it gives you an idea of you not liking the book. So you have that month limit of just being like, I no longer want to read this. I'm currently doing it with Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. And you do the 2 pages per day. And sometimes that is the case. Then there's some days like yesterday where you get like 18 pages in. It's a good marker of being able to commit to a book, decide if you like it, and also make your way through some parts that may be difficult to read, along with parts that are joyous to read. So that's my prop suggestion to the people and to you, Alan.
Yeah, I could do that because I do that a lot. Like I always tell myself, like, yo, I want to read more. And I just never get around to it. I just end up on Twitter. And you know what I mean, it's like 2 pages a day, I can do that.
Yeah. But so this is the thing too of like, I mean, I know they probably have a bunch of studies, but with social media and like the monitors and for myself included, I'm not excluding myself from this, it feels like attention spans can be a little bit shorter. And to have your eyes on a book that it's not moving at all, there's no pop-ups or anything like that, you're in just this world. It's freeing in a lot of ways, but it can be difficult if you're been conditioning to be on your phone, which is something that I go through as well. So I think this is a good practice.
Now, I'm gonna take you up on a suggestion. I'm gonna start today.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some book suggestions, but I feel like we probably have different. I don't know. Maybe we do have some similar things.
I got books. I just, like I said, I'll be reading them. You know what I mean?
Stunning on that one. I got books.
Yeah,
listen, shoulder shrug.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I don't think besides you, I don't think none of my homies read or even have books. Like that's just not something that we did or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like the only time my homies read when they in jail. You know what I mean? It's like it's just not what we did. So it's like I gotta force myself to do it. Like I remember I haven't read the first book I ever read, like as an adult outside of school, was Kevin Hart's biography.
Oh yeah.
And that was like 5-6 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like, you talking, I was like 27. I never read a whole book by myself. You know what I mean? So it's like but I got into it. I started buying books. I started reading. I was like, man, I can't be no fucking loser and not be reading. You know what I mean? So it's like
that's ultimate ad for books right there. I can't be a loser.
If you don't want to be a cornball, get some books.
I don't want to be a bozo. I don't think it's the worst thing when people don't read. like growing up, I never really read either. My mom's not really a reader. We just weren't really like a reading household like that. I think that's fine in a lot of cases too. I'm more so an advocate of, if you're reading, it can take your mind off of things, and it's an appropriate form of escapism, and also just from a learning perspective, you pick up and work different muscles in your brain versus what you would do from listening or watching something. Although people do the audiobooks too, and apparently it works great for them. I have a hard time with it.
So my girl, she was listening to audio. We was driving from Maryland, so we was in the car for a couple of hours. Excuse me. And she was listening to some audio book. What was the name of it? It was like some real renowned book, but it was like about like
Captain Underpants.
It was about like science and like space and math, and I'm listening to it, and they were saying a lot of numbers and stuff, and I was like, I would benefit more by seeing these numbers, seeing
Right.
it was like hearing it. I wasn't like, and like the voice was like in some old Englishman's voice, and it was like it wasn't doing it. Like
I always have to rewind it every time I do it.
Yeah,
I can't pick up on it from audio. It's very much like, because sometimes even with reading, I'll have to like go back and read a paragraph over, versus the audio one. It's like, wow, I didn't retain any of that information.
Yeah,
Especially if it's dealing with numbers.
Yeah, it was a lot of numbers and math, and I was just like, she was like, "Did you get that?" I was like, "No, I didn't get that. I'm trying to drive and do math in my head and picture. Like, no way." Like,
I'm curious what this book was now. Huh.
I had to text her because what the name was this book? It was by somebody famous too. Like, it was by not Stephen King.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking.
When you said older guy, I didn't know if it obviously wasn't from him vocally. When you said that and then numbers, I was like, I wonder if it's Stephen Hawking. Yeah, like the scientist. I don't know if scientist is the correct term. He's like did a lot of stuff beyond that. But yeah, I forgot what his main thing is. It's not quantum physics, but I imagine just you listening to quantum physics in the car.
Bro, it was like one of his famous books from like the mid 80s or something like that. And it was like, it was extremely hard to keep up with audio wise, because I was just like, he's talking about space and doing long division, and I was like, whoa, bro, like I can't hear this. I got to be able to see this. Like I couldn't keep up. So when I have to text her, and I text her, I'll let you know what the name of that book was, though.
One quick suggestion to you, because I feel like you'd enjoy this. I loved it. Rock This by Chris Rock came out probably like 98. And it was the same thing. It was autobiographical, but it was like him doing commentary on it. It's almost like the Cosby books, which I didn't read those, but it's very much like autobiographical, but he would do like these like whimsical little entries as well. That one, definitely check it out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh man, just tea keep making me burp. Yeah. So I'll check that out. Here goes my proper suggestion. I think that the people need to watch on Netflix The Tender Swindler. Okay.
Tender Swindler. I've been hearing about this. What is this?
Tender Swindler. It's a documentary, I guess, or a story about this guy who would meet women on Tinder and scam them out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, like multiple women for millions of dollars. Like this guy, dog. Like, listen, this guy, he would be like, so the backstory is he's done 3 years in jail for like fraud before, right? And he got out of jail. He would go on Tinder. He like made it. He like changed his name, made up this whole fabulous lifestyle where he would be flying on planes and taking trips to every single city in Europe, like the best cities, Mykonos and Rome and all the cities. You know what I mean? And he would meet these women on Tinder, and they would see like this good-looking guy traveling. They were like, "Oh, okay." So they swipe right, and then he would smooth them. He would make them fall in love with him. You know what I mean? They would be all over him. You know what I'm saying? And then he would scam them out of money. Like he told the women that he was a diamond seller. Like his family was part of this big diamond selling family. But what he did was he changed his name to the same name as this actual family that sells diamonds that are like billionaires.
So he's actually related to the diamond people.
No, he changed.
Okay. He would change it to. I see.
That'd be like if you had a diamond business, I'd change my name to like John Griffiths. You know what I mean? It's just like, so when you Google my family, you can see that like, oh, he's really making money. You know what I mean?
From a swindler standpoint, commitment right there.
he was in the game. He perfected this. Like so what he would do was like, I don't know how he got the initial money, but he would like wine and dine these women, take them to Amsterdam, fly them all over the place, and then he would his same thing he would do to every woman. He'd be like, we went to go do a deal in this country, then something bad happened, and my credit cards got shut down. Where me and my assistants and bodyguards were stuck in this country. Can you please just lend me $20,000 and I'll pay it back to you?
Gosh. And the people had that, so he was working with people that had that sort of type of money, the women that he was matching with.
That's what I thought at first, but then when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's even crazier. He was getting these women to take out loans, open credit cards.
Oh goodness.
So it wasn't like they had the liquid cash to give him. They were taking out loans, and this man, he had it down packed, bro. Like he had it. He was running crazy games, living a crazy lifestyle. Like,
and
no,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but what I realized, like, cause I had a lot of people close to me that go to jail, and one thing I learned about jail, I've never been myself, but one thing I do know about jail is, if you don't go in there trying to get better as a person, you won't. Jail is the perfect place to learn how to be a better criminal. That's where all the criminals are. You have time to think about everything. So that's what this guy did. He went to jail for 3 years, thought about the perfect scheme, and came out and started doing it. Like that's what happened. This is what this documentary is about. You know what I mean?
I keep hearing about this, and I didn't know this was what it was about. Given just the nature of like just dating shows, I thought it was like kind of like a dating murder sort of thing. So I'm kind of relieved in that end that it's not that. But yeah, that sounds pretty fascinating of like doing this. I always wonder when it comes to any sort of like catfishing, which doesn't sound like it was the case for him, but swindling in general when it comes to online dating, of the emotions that must go into it. Because like say you're meeting someone for the first time, you're maybe talking with them for 2-3 weeks, maybe a few months or so, and the emotional attachment to that individual, I imagine, is what fuels you to maybe take out a loan or really take their word for it. And that part's kind of bonkers to me. Like, do you ever feel like, I know you're in a situation right now, but have you ever developed that strong of an emotional attachment with someone prior to actually meeting them?
Prior to meeting them?
Yeah.
Not unless like Halle Berry or something, but like,
right. Yeah. We're talking about parasocial relationships. Shout out to Jane Seymour. Right?
No, man, I'm a realist. I need to see what's going on in person. Like no.
That's how I feel as well. But we always hear these cases of the catfishing and of these people, like, it sounds like some of them did have money and they're professionals, and yet they're still susceptible to being swindled by an individual. Maybe it's a testament to this person how good they are, but it also makes you think, oh, maybe it is pretty common and people are generally susceptible to building these emotional attachments. But I can't see myself doing the same as you. Like, I can't picture that of it's like common. Talking to someone for a while.
Yeah, it's common. But for me, like, we could be talking for a while, but at a certain point, I can't go past a certain point. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I think you're cool. We'd like to meet you. But I can't like find myself being like, oh, I'm so in love with you. I don't. And it can't go. I can't go to that point. I don't know if you remember this. There was a football player named Manti Te'o.
Do you remember this?
He played for Notre Dame in college, and he got catfished. Like he thought he had a girlfriend, but he never met her. Only like talked to her online, and she turned out to not be a real person. Just somebody like messing with him for years. You know what I mean?
It turned out to be the coach of the opposing team, right?
Was that true?
No, I don't know. That'd be nuts if that was a part of it. Like, wow, they're really doing some mind games now. I do remember that actually. People are susceptible to it. I don't know what that speaks to in terms of just having a willingness to trust, or just loneliness, perhaps. But yeah, no, I'm always blown away when I hear those stories, because you see them all the time. It's like, do we ever see it the other way around of a woman swindler, like catching dudes off guard?
Like this Manti Te'o thing. He was a man that got. You know what I mean? And I'm sure if you watch Catfish, I haven't watched Catfish in a long time, but I'm pretty sure there's men getting catfished on there too. You know what I mean?
I imagine.
Also, I think that social media, people are getting swindled all the time. You're talking about like people putting on filters, acting like they made it, only posting their highlight reel. Like people like these people, like there's like a million Instagram models, right? Nobody really know nothing about them but their bodies. It's like, oh, look at that. You don't know about them, but you in love with them because they showed you their butt in a thong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a thing. I feel like to be in that elk, and I'm not trying to like knock the people that fall for that, because I'm sure there's other things that go into it, but just off that in itself, of I feel like you really have to see the people and like really get to talk to them. Then again, I will say, as a younger person who maybe felt a little kind of isolated at times, I built true emotional attachments with people that I would talk to on message boards, IMDb message boards. Shout out to Mech16. And I'd really build connections with them, and they knew stuff about my life and vice versa. I could have been catfished. I could have been friendship catfished in one of those situations. We had there's a few people that got caught. They would make two usernames and they would rap under both of them. But they would make two usernames and then they would do mischievous things under the second username. But usually they would get caught. But there could be a time where perhaps they didn't. And I thought that I knew two people, and really, I only knew one.
Yeah,
I think to think about. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think that we all have been a little catfished, like a little catfished. But there's like a certain level of swindle you're going to get with me. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get me to send you any money. You're not like, I may respond to a message in the past, like I'll respond, but like it's a certain level. But these people, these women know in this Tinder swindler documentary, they met this dude. They had sex with this dude. They had feelings with him. They thought they were in a relationship. So it's not like they've never seen him. He would literally fly to their city and then fly out the next day or something because he was doing so much business. And in turn, he was really just flying city to city fucking bitches. Yeah, I mean, so
man. Well, I'm curious on how it ends, but I think I may actually just watch this. Now I'm fascinated in it, so I may just watch it to see what.
I don't want to spoil it. You should watch it. It's the ending is. I like the ending. It was cool. I was like, oh, okay, so I like that. But it was good. Yo, you should watch it. It's a good watch.
We're talking about mischievous behavior and such. And I don't know if you saw this. So there's in Florida, one of the county jails out there, and I think that's something that they're trying to spread throughout other counties in Florida as well. They have begun to charge to detainees. Again, this isn't prison; it's just county jail. They begin to charge detainees $5 per day with the coverage of shelter, I suppose, meals, clothing, that's some people are upset over this. And then there's other side of it, people saying that well, taxpayers are paying for this and this will alleviate some of that. And $5 is a manageable amount for people that may be detained for a particular amount of days. What's your take on this?
That's normal practice, bro.
What do you mean?
They do that everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, when you get out of jail, you get a check. You get a like an invoice.
What?
You know what I mean? It's normal practice. People got to county jail and owe them money. Like,
I don't know why I'm surprised by that. I guess it makes sense, but I've never heard of that.
My brother, when he came up from jail, he had like thousands of dollars to pay back, and then he can't get a job because he's a felon. But yeah, you gotta pay to go to jail.
Oh my god, that's
I don't know if this like. I'm not sure what the amount of money is, but I remember in Lancaster County, like, yeah, they charge you to go to jail, bro. It's not new at all. So when you had texted me that, I was like, oh, Kirk don't know. This is normal practice.
That's what. So what are taxpayers paying for? What?
I don't know. Hold on. What did Pat just say? I couldn't read it because I'm on my phone.
So, for over Bruce Pat coming in, over 2 decades, Pennsylvania's jails have increasingly taken up the practice of charging rent to inmates. Prison wardens defend the practice and say charging the fee teaches financial responsibility while also easing the burden on taxpayers who are paying for the rising costs of incarceration.
Yeah.
Do you feel that it gives them financial responsibility?
Not at all. What it does is it puts them in the hole, because now when you get out of jail, you have fines to pay. You got to pay this stuff back, but you also can't get a job because you're a felon. So it's like they just put them back in. They put you in jail over not paying that bread. You know that? They'll put you back in jail because you can't afford to be in jail.
Oh my goodness, that's such a a sad, I don't even know if like sad would be the right thought for it, but I maybe sympathy is the right word for this, but whenever you hear people go in jail for like minor offenses, especially like a county jail, and then to have that on your record, and then that then impacts your ability for certain income depending on what you're going for, and just in general makes it an obstacle. And then you're also being put into debt because of that. You always think like when people are released, it's like, oh, it's this big weight lifted off your shoulder and all that. And I'm sure in some ways, yes, but all the struggles that come with it too, it kind of makes sense why a lot of times people end up going right back.
It's not an accident. They want you to go right back. They don't set it up so you prosper. They set it up to fit. When you get out of jail, you have 24 hours to meet with your parole officer. 24 hours. Like you can't even like go to sleep. You got to immediately check in, and then they give you a list of all the money you owe, a list of everything you got to do. And then they be like, here. They don't give you any resources. They don't give you anything. It's literally a trap. Like once you get in, that's why it's so important to not ever get in the system, because they don't want you to get out. It's if you get out the system, then that's money they lose. While you're in the system, you always are in debt to them. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what it is, man.
I don't know, man. You think about different aspects of life. Like you just think of like different parts of it, and just say if you get caught slipping off something, and sometimes you didn't even do it, you're just in the wrong situation at a particular time, and how that can have such an impact on your life and quality of life. And it could be so random too. I know it's a wild thought to me. It's a fear for me. Not like I'm out here like doing stuff that like I got to fear going to jail or anything like that, but just like the kind of the randomness of it and the chaos of it is just knowing that that's there. It's frightening. It's frightening.
Yeah, man. That's the whole thing about the justice system with Black people as opposed to white people.
Yeah.
They want white people get away with crimes that we get arrested for. Like that whole marijuana thing, there's plenty of stories where a Black man can tell you they got caught with a little bit of weed and then got in trouble for it. Where white people get caught with a little bit of weed, slap on the wrist. I know your mom. You're a good kid. We're gonna let you go. But us, they put us in the system, and now we trapped because they want you to be in it. It's all this other stuff that come with it. That's why it's so crazy when cops are racist. It's because it's like, bro, you just ruined somebody's life, and it could be like a 17-year-old kid with some little bit of weed or something. You're gonna put him in jail and ruin his life because you literally ruining his life by putting him into the system, because the system is gonna eat him alive. Like, you know what I mean? That's why people get so mad. Black people get so mad about policing and stuff like that, because it's not fair. Like, because they want us into this system that never ends, bro. It never ends. Like, it's just the ongoing cycle. While they get slapped on the wrist, and because their mom knows the lawyer or somebody, you know what I mean? Like, it's
just connections with that. And they have it's along with race too, just the idea of, say, if you're an officer or just someone in the working for the system, that a lot of times you feel that you could relate more towards like someone that looks like you who is white versus the other way around. And then it kind of dehumanizes a bit someone that's Black, and you may not have those connections. For those, we've talked about it on the show a few different times, but for those interested in just the justice system and seeing it in a different light, The 13th is an excellent documentary to consider.
Yeah, that's the perfect documentary to watch, man. It's a lot of foul shit going on. So when Florida said they was doing $5, I was like, I thought like they haven't already been. You know what I mean?
It's like, oh, they have discounted rates in Florida.
Like in PA, it's like $17 a day. Jesus. Like, yeah, man, you go in you go in broke and you come out in debt, bro. Like it's set up for failure, man. Like, yeah, they want you back in that system. You know what I mean? So don't go to jail. Do not go to jail.
Don't go to jail, man. Try your best. But sometimes even when you do try your best, they still try to get you. I'm going through existential crisis right now, bro. This is nuts.
That's why you gotta be that's why black people, we got to be like, that's why when we talk to cops, we be like, yes, sir, you're so nice. And thank you very much. And oh, you talk to him like you're a fucking slave. Yes, sir, massa. You know what I mean? Here's my idea, massa. Like, I mean, it's like, why people don't do that? Because they're not afraid. They know they don't get put into that system. But we know if we get put into that system, it's an ongoing thing. It shit never ends, bro.
You know, one of my least favorite things. I find this probably, I want to say like 50% of not just white friends, white acquaintances, and just people that grew up in suburbs. I'll say it that way. A lot of them have stories of them rebelling against cops, and they say it with pride. And it's like, you said that. I don't see it as like, oh wow, what a badass thing. I see it as like, oh, you felt entitled to do that. How nice. Like,
yeah, like I wouldn't dare.
Yeah, it's just like, and then they kind of present in a way like, yeah, of course, right? It's like, no, not always, of course. That's not always the case. I remember one time I got pulled over while driving to New York, and I was terrified. Not terrified, but I was nervous. And the cop actually asked me like, "Oh, you look nervous. Everything okay?" And I was like, "Well, I'm being pulled over. So yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking." And I don't know if that humored him or whatever, but like yeah, nothing came out of it from that, but it was just interesting. Like it was a kind of a prompt for me to either suggest that I was doing something wrong or to engage in combative dialogue. And that one, it was just like I had to answer straightforward, like, yeah, no, I'm this is a nerve-wracking experience. Yes. And
yeah, it's because we have reason to be nervous. White people are comfortable talking to the police. White people are the only people that they get pulled over and they'll talk to the cop first. They'd be like, is there a problem, officer? Like, we would never, we always roll the window down like, and we wait to hear what we did. We ain't say nothing first. White people will smoke a cigarette in the cop's face with sunglasses on. Like,
I remember
so what's the problem?
Betty Davis impersonations. I remember my stepdad was white. He was driving. We were in a car going to like one of his family members in Virginia one day. It was Thanksgiving a few years ago, and he was speeding. And he was aware that he was speeding, and he got pulled over. And as the cop is pulling up to him, like walking up, he was rolling down his window, like, "I knew you were gonna get me. I knew." He was so it was just like a joyous thing. He's like, you got me on that one. I was like, oh my goodness, we're not gonna get a turkey today. But yeah, he was confident about it. He didn't get a ticket either. It was nuts.
That's crazy. Like he knew he did something wrong.
Yeah.
You still get a ticket for it.
Yeah, man. Crazy to think of it like that.
That's the difference, man. Like they are so comfortable around police, it's insane. Because they know like ain't nothing gonna happen to them. They're fine. Us, we're like, I hope somebody's recording this shit. Because
I wonder what, I mean, we have to cut this out depending on where it goes. I wonder what the police and Asian American relationship is. I know not necessarily like Asians that are living in like say like China or even Japan, because it's just a different system there altogether that I'm not as familiar with. But in America, what is it like? I don't know.
Bro, I'm so glad you brought this up because
I'm cautious that I brought it up. That's where my head's at.
I'm so glad. It's a couple of reasons why. I'll tell you the second one in a second. But the first reason is that's why I don't like the term Black, Indigenous, people of color, or like the term people of color in general, because everybody that's not a white person is considered a person of color. And that's like Asian people. But not all people of color go through the same things that Black people go through. You know what I mean?
Right. For colorism reasons and all that.
When a Black person gets put over by the police is way different than when a Chinese person gets put over by the police, because the police do not see the Chinese person as a threat. You know what I mean? And Chinese people, I'm gonna tell you this now, Chinese people relate more to white people than they do Black people. You know what I mean? They feel like, oh, I'm an upstanding citizen. I own a business. I'm smart. I'm not a thug. You know what I mean? So that whole people of color thing, I don't say that I'm a Black person. You know what I mean? Because Chinese people don't have the same. They have their struggles, yes, but it's not the same as the black people struggling. We all have our struggles, but it's different. And policing alone, talking about policing, cops are not out here shooting Chinese Americans. They're just not.
Right.
I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen one case. I haven't seen one case. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
can't say I know the statistics on that, and that's why it made me think of that, which I genuinely don't know. I think it is important, as you mentioned. Everyone has their struggles, and colorism is a very real thing, particularly in America when it comes to policing. You mentioned the relating to white Americans a bit more. On the Indian side, that's what I see as well. You'll see a lot of just Indian Americans that I think just being black in itself is something that it's hard to relate to for many people if they're not actually that.
Right.
And because of how Black Americans are portrayed and demonized often and seen as very much like a polarizing thing of like, oh, they're either villains, criminals, are some of the best performers in the world. I think for a lot of times it's harder for other people of color in America to see that middle ground, at least from what I'm seeing. But it is important knowledge. Everyone has their own struggles and such. But it did make me think for a second, like, oh, what is that relationship like? Huh.
Yeah, no, I can tell you right now, cops don't see Asian Americans as a threat. They don't look at them and go, hold on, let me get my hand on my gun. I might need backup. Got a wild Asian man. Like, no, I've never heard like that. You know what I mean? It just is never the case. You know what I mean? So
Why do you know so much about cops? Are you hanging with the ops, bro?
man,
You got a lot of cop insight.
I've been in the back of a few cop cars. I've had my fair share running with the law. You know what I mean? And like,
I'm saying it sounds like you're kind of like working from the inside right now. You got a
no,
little.
never, bro, never,
You're talking real comfortable about statistics and what the cops do. I don't know, man.
It's because I know this is something that I'm well versed on. You if you heard my set last night, I talk about it. I talk about getting pulled over by the cops. Talk about relationships with the cops. You know, like it's a real thing, and especially in America, man. Like that's like, but this conversation though, because I was having with my girl recently about because we had this conversation because this is the second part I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you've seen this, but Officer Kim Porter, she got charged with murdering Dante Wright, and she just recently got 2 years in jail for that.
I think less. It was 16 months.
16 months. It's 16 months for killing a person is insane, bro. It's insane. And the judge of the case was an Asian woman. This Asian woman sentenced her to 16 months in jail and said, like, she was like, they said that the judge was crying, saying like she sympathizes for her because she know how hard this must have been for her. It's like, how hard do you think it's for the family of the person that died? What are you talking about? You sympathizing with the killer? It's insane. But that's what made me think when you said it. This judge was an Asian American woman. She don't see herself. Like, this is a black woman. This lady would have gotten 16 months because she could relate. But this Asian lady, I'm telling you, she sees herself relating to this white cop when she does these black, people. You know what I mean?
Because I think the family was asking for at least 7 years. For those who aren't familiar with the story, Kim Porter, she was a cop who I believe was in Minneapolis, maybe. She shot Wright when her excuse was that she meant to use her taser and she grabbed the wrong item. And this judge, I guess, kind of had, I don't want to say related to it, but had sympathy for that idea that it was a mistake. And the criticism comes, like you're mentioning too, of like, well, what about the family and the victim? That is a big thing, and what they're going through. And I don't know when it comes to like, would they feel better if they got a longer sentence? I don't know, maybe, but it feels a little bit like a slight disregard of what they're going through at the hands of this particular person by limiting the amount of time. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. You're 100% right. They like to break down as a judge, to break down and cry over the person you're sentencing is wild to me. That's wild to me. That's not the victim. They're the defendant. Like, you're crying over the defendant. Like, that's so insane. That'd be like the judge crying. Like, could you imagine like them like sentencing Aaron Hernandez and being like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I got sent you to 3 life sentences, Aaron Hernandez. Oh my God, I feel for you." Like, it's insane. Like, you,
Yeah. Part of me is
crazy.
like, it's like you mentioned before, like a catch-22 in the sense of like, oh, cool, judges in the justice system are they're seeing people as humans. However, it's like in this case, it's like that maybe you're not seeing the other side as human as you're seeing the I'm trying to think of the word for it, the perpetrator in this case. You're seeing the perpetrator as more human than the victims.
Yeah.
So that part is pretty sad.
Yeah, man. It's a thing I think about a lot. That's why I don't that's why I don't like the term people of color. It's because it's not like people of color are one unit. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not like I see a Chinese guy and I'm like, "Yo, what's up, my brother?" Like, it's not that. You know what I mean?
Shout to the Chinese. I frame it in that way of like, I think sometimes we slip into the idea of like making it Black versus Asian. I feel like that's a thing that pops up a lot, and I see kind of like the context as to why there can be collective tension. But from a humanistic standpoint, I think it's always very important to acknowledge that in a lot of ways they are our brothers, so that's okay
too. Okay.
Which Alan does not agree with.
I'm telling you, my brothers and my Black people. I'm not racist. I love everybody. But I know my brothers, like when I'm walking down the street and I see a Black dude, I always nod my head at them. Right. No matter where I'm at, what kind of neighborhood I'm in. I've never do that with any other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I could shake any Black man's hand in this world and we would get it right the first time. You know what I mean? It's just a different relationship that we have because they understand my struggles. I understand their struggles. That's it. Like, I'm not saying I hate anyone. I mean, I have no hate for anyone, but I know the relationship that I have with Black men and Black women. Like, I know that relationship. Like, when I see a Black woman and we're the only 2 Black people in the situation or in like a environment, like, we acknowledge that and we know that, like, you good, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just a different relationship.
Shout out to the random lady. It was during the 2020 presidential election. We were at the voting booth, and your boy was lost. I was floundering. It was early in the morning, and it was plenty of people there. It was in Downingtown, and me and this woman, we were the only Black ones there, and she silently guided me towards the right direction. I was like, "Thank you so much." It was nice.
There was a whole bunch of other people there that didn't help you, right?
They're like, "Look at this floundering buffoon over here."
Exactly.
He's going to vote for Garfield.
Exactly. That's the kind of connection you have with Black people, and that's just what it is. Like, no hate to anybody else, but it's a thing that we have with each other. I don't know. Do white people do it too? Do they see each other and be like, "Howdy"? Like, I don't know how y'all do it. You know what I mean? But
might be a secret handshake. I'm not sure.
Right, but we have our own thing, and that's why I say I'm Black. I'm not a people of color. And also another thing about that whole people of color bullshit, they tricked us. They tricked us in calling minorities people of color, right? You shouldn't give. First of all, we're not the minority in the world, okay? Right. White people are the minority. So why are all the people in the world called people of color and not white people called people of no color? Because those are the ones that should have the non sequitur. Like, they should be the ones that has the tag on their name, not the majority. Like,
right.
I mean,
I want. Is people of color a term used in other places? Like, if you go to Europe or Africa, you're not going to hear people of color.
Probably not.
But yeah, it may just be an American thing.
It's an American thing, but it's still like I'm not people of color. I'm not. You're calling everybody the people of color when we're the majority. We're just in America we might be the minority, but everywhere else we're the majority. So I'm gonna start calling them people of no color.
That's a new wave.
Right.
Shout out to the people of no color, Eminem, for dropping a knee at the Super Bowl. Which I didn't even realize till afterwards. I was like, oh, and then there was a bunch of stories about it. I was like, oh, all right. Didn't even realize that. Oh,
you know what was crazy? I've seen before the Super Bowl, I seen a thing that was saying how the NFL told Eminem not to kneel. they were like, "Yo, don't kneel," and I knew that going
Just
in
you, Eminem. Just
because he mentioned it. He mentioned it. It was like, "Yo, I'm probably going to kneel," and they were like, "Don't do that, don't do that." And so when he did it, I didn't even realize that was the kneel. I thought he was just like being quiet so Dr. Dre could play the piano.
Yeah, same.
I didn't realize until afterwards. I was like, "Oh, that was the kneel." I didn't even realize. He like had his head down. I didn't know. I was like, okay, props to Eminem for doing that. He do be taking stands on stuff. He don't care what no one says.
He does. He actually just did a diss, not a diss record, but a diss spoof to Rudy Giuliani of "Lose Yourself."
Was that really Eminem?
That's what they're. So I didn't listen to the track. So for all I know, it's Pete Davidson. I don't know.
I heard it.
What
on
was
Colbert,
it? Eminem?
on Stephen Colbert. It wasn't Eminem. No,
I see.
It wasn't.
Fake news on proper Ebonics, but we resolve the fake news right away. If one of us presents it, the other one will knock down. Who knows? Maybe there was one story we talked. I love the idea we expound on a fake news story for like a good 30 minutes, and like no one corrects us on it. I don't think that's the case. I think the people will correct us.
Producer Pat looking up fake facts and just giving us wrong info. No, all three of us have no idea.
Just coming up with on the fly. Well, cool, man. The rest of my day is going to entail doing laundry. I didn't do goals, but my major goal is find my damn glasses. It's been like 3 days. And yeah, I got to print out my insurance card. So I got to go over to Staples. You do anything for the rest of the day?
My kids want to go Chipotle so bad.
Ooh.
Like,
I treat them?
Excuse me. Yeah.
You got the burps. I don't know if you could be doing Chipotle right now, bro.
Yo, I'm trying to think. What was it? I just had some cereal and I had some tea, but like I don't know. I think it was the milk. I might have had too much milk. And I was drinking a lot of almond milk. Yeah, man.
I may do that then.
I said this on stage last night. It might have been the second time I ever said it, but there was one tag I used. I talked about how like becoming lactose intolerant. You know what I mean? And I had said that the messed up part about being lactose intolerant is like there's only one way to find out. You know what I mean? Like it's not like your butt sends you an email like, "Yo, bro, you might want to not drink that." And then it CCs your butthole, and they don't tell your brain.
Did you have the CC butthole part up there?
No, I didn't. I was thinking about it last night. I was like, "Yo, I gotta add the CC
funny.
your butt." That's why I said it just now. I wanted to run it past you because I know I said that like it ain't like you get an email, but it's like the CC part.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I wanted to run that by and see. I want to add that to my set. I want to add that about drinking milk, like just milk. I got a whole joke just called milk.
It's just I got a milk chunk right there. For those listening, obviously, check Alan out wherever you can be found. Are you going to be in areas where you got some dates you want to drop?
What's today? Thursday? Is it Friday? 20th. Friday, I'm gonna be in Allentown. I think. Ooh. Blue Mountain Resort or something.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Is that like Easton?
It's like Bethlehem, maybe. I'm not sure. It's in that Lehigh Valley area. So if y'all around Blue Mountain Resort, you know what I mean. And then you catch me all over New York. I'm running around. I'd be popping up here and there. Got a couple comedy club auditions coming up, man. So I'm excited about those, man.
Nice.
So yeah,
good stuff.
Where are you gonna be at? You
popping. I am doing one in I think March 12th. Dan Getz. They have like some brewery show in Newtown, which is like it's in Pennsylvania. Have you done it before?
No, I've never done it, but I used to work in that area.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I think sometime like 25th, I'll be back in Lidditz for Gary. Gary's gonna be doing a show there. I'm blanking on Gary's last name. Gary Lamo. Yeah, that's right. He has a show out there, and there's gonna be some fun people on there. So
Black Box.
Yeah. What's that?
That show at the Black Box Theater.
Is it the Black Box Theater?
I think it's called like Black. I think I see the flyer for it.
I love Black Box Theaters. They're one of my favorites to perform for. So I hope it is the case that it's Black Box Theater.
I think it is. Yeah.
I just go there and it's like a large stadium. I'm like, what? There's no walls here at all.
There's no roof. You're outdoors.
I'm in a swimming pool right now. That'd be kind of nuts. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff as always. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far. Like, subscribe, download, do all the stuff, and just overall
Share,
live life.
comment.
What's up?
I said share, comment, all that stuff.
Share, comment, write down, get your 2 pages of Crime and Punishment in. You got it. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.